Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We have a brand new partnership. This is the second PR in a row with Palantir. They just had a PR yesterday, and that was their quality management systems for life sciences, and it's a new tool that's going to help hospitals and organizations and drug research facilities become more proficient and effective. Today, they announced a partnership with a really interesting company, a company a lot of you guys probably know about, which is Cloudflare, ticker symbol NET. Current stock price about $40, market cap of $13 billion. For those that don't know what Cloudflare is, it's a content delivery network, secures your website, APIs, and internet applications, protect corporate networks, employees, and devices, and it allows you to write and deploy code that runs on their network edge. Now, I use Cloudflare in my own startup as well. My startup is an audio startup. It has a lot of content on it, and the way we load certain parts of that content is through Cloudflare. So, for example, we have a lot of audio ideas, that's what it's called, and a thumbnail represents what you click on, and then you get the audio. We load the audio from S3 and AWS, but we load the thumbnails from Cloudflare. So it's on a different server, it's super quick, and we use Cloudflare to actually be able to deliver our content way more effectively and efficiently than if we were just pulling it from S3. So this is a really interesting partnership, and we're going to announce what Palantir is trying to do with Cloudflare. Understanding cloud spend is complex, especially in environments where customers use multiple cloud vendors, because a lot of big companies don't just use AWS, Azure, or GCP. As organizations transition more of their workloads to the cloud, the complexity and cost of these workloads have increased. What's more organizations often struggle to achieve granular visibility over their cloud spend, or increasingly inability to easily manage cloud costs. Internal stakeholders ranging from finance executives to infrastructure engineers need to securely collaborate on optimizations and analyses to create lasting cloud efficiencies. Now, this is really important to understand. 10 years ago, when you tried to start an internet company and you had a lot of data and content to put on servers, you had a lot of physical servers. Amazon changed everything. They were the pioneer in this space by saying, hey, what if you just put everything in the cloud? You can literally reduce your cost by 10 times. You don't have to stack up physical servers or pay for some server facility. You just pay AWS and we'll manage everything within our cloud. Now that business is about $62 billion in revenue per year. You've got GCP, Google Cloud, and you've got you got Microsoft Azure, all these different companies that are in place helping manage the day-to-day operations and the infrastructure of that cloud. Cloudflare is one of those companies as well. Now, they're not really selling compute like AWS, GCP, and Azure are, but they're helping manage what's going on in the cloud. As a result of pretty much every organization on the planet switching their servers from physical to the cloud, there's a lot of costs and there's a lot of granular visibility that's really not available in terms of how much are you spending cent by cent in all these different areas of your business on the cloud itself. A company like Netflix probably spends God knows how many hundreds of millions of dollars per year on AWS, because obviously a lot of people are streaming video and all that video is stored in the cloud. For a company like me, we're spending like $200-$300 a month on AWS because we don't have as many users as Netflix. So Netflix has a lot more costs associated with managing their cloud. Quote from Shyam Sankar, COO, stitching together a patchwork of cloud contracts and evaluating them across teams, workflows, and internal stakeholders is a fundamentally data integration challenge. I agree. Our partnership with Cloudflare provides an avenue for Palantir Foundry to drive down multi-cloud costs, Palantir Apollo to reduce the burden on DevOps and improve customers' gross margins, and Cloudflare to provide a modern cloud architecture that doesn't restrict customer choice and delivers a meaningful cost savings. The entire goal of this partnership, the way I see it, is for Palantir Foundry to be implemented within Cloudflare in a way that allows clients that are using Cloudflare to manage their content delivery network at the intersection of Foundry, which is understanding all of that data and making sense of it, to figure out where are their efficiencies and the cost savings and how can those efficiencies lead to better gross margins. Additionally, Palantir Apollo, for those that don't know what Apollo is, it's just one of Palantir's backend infrastructure systems that allows you to send over-the-air updates simultaneously across the entire organization in a much more effective and efficient way that's currently being done right now. DevOps have to... Sorry, my voice cracked right there. My throat is a little bad today morning. DevOps have to be able to implement updates over the cloud immediately. And in order for that to be able to happen, a lot of that has to be synchronous towards the cloud infrastructure you're using or something like Cloudflare. But that costs a lot of money when you issue a new update, especially when you're issuing a new update across multiple parts of the business in different sectors. And so if you could use something like Apollo and Foundry to be able to optimize your updates, optimize the data that's being stored to be able to understand how much you're spending in the cloud, that gives you more of a sense of what's going on in your business. And the really cool and interesting thing about this partnership is Cloudflare, which is a pretty well-respected industry leader in the IT management software space, recognizing that Palantir's operational workflows are supposed to be, are like are a good thing to be integrated, are supposed to be integrated, are a meaningful thing to integrate within their clients' workflows is a really good thing. I just from a go-to-market perspective, I don't know how much this increases Palantir's bottom line. Obviously, this is not going to affect the stock, but just having this partnership in place, just like Palantir's partnership with AWS and just like Palantir's partnership with GCP that was announced back in June, it's good to have these people recognize Palantir as an industry leader because it gives Palantir, as a growth company, a lot more credibility. This strategic partnership will provide organizations with the ability to quickly generate meaningful cost savings from their existing cloud bills and transition to a more cost-efficient cloud infrastructure for the long term. Some people said, would Amazon or Google not like this partnership? And I think the answer to that is no. Amazon doesn't want you to spend as much money as possible. They want you to spend efficiently so that you keep spending. If you're constantly spending millions of dollars that you don't need to be spending, one day you're going to be like, screw Amazon, I'm just going to do something else. And Basecamp, which is a company that manages, which is a project management software company, actually announced this in December that they were leaving the cloud because they just felt the costs were too high and they were going back to physical servers. If you're a cloud compute company, you shouldn't want that to happen. So you should want to take less money in the short term so that you keep this customer for life. And I think a company like Cloudflare and Palantir actually being able to optimize your savings ultimately is good for the major cloud networks. Within 24 hours of data connection, customers can leverage pre-built infrastructure in Palantir Foundry to understand their current cloud costs, integrating data from across cloud vendors, mapping to the internal ontology that governs different business units and attribution factors, and identifying internal opportunities for more efficient work, including potential migrations to Cloudflare. These migrations, particularly valuable for organizations with high volumes of data, can enable customers to distribute data and execute high compute and workflows quicker, cheaper, and at a greater scale than traditional cloud vendors, all while remaining cloud agnostic, meaning you don't have to be part of a certain cloud provider in order to be implementing Cloudflare and Palantir within your business. By leveraging Cloudflare's Workers platform and R2 storage solution, customers from the largest enterprises to small businesses are further enabled to build, deploy, and manage their workloads seamlessly at a global scale and with greater flexibility and cost efficiency. It's one of those partnerships that's a B2B partnership that allows Palantir to just work with a ton of Cloudflare clients and hopefully give them more cost savings. Some quotes. Today's modern application stacks are at a collection of many services running on different clouds. Legacy cloud providers shackle customers with restrictive pricing models, making it untenable to use multiple cloud vendors or switch providers. Dane Connect, SVP of Emerging Technologies and Incubation at Cloudflare, said, Cloudflare's Worker developer platform and R2 storage gives developers a flexible, cost-efficient development platform with massive scale. Unlike other cloud vendors that lock customers in with high ingress fees, Cloudflare doesn't charge for ingress. We are redefining the standard of how developers with object storage, allowing them to focus on innovation rather than the cost of accessing their data, which is, really what cloud storage is. We're excited to work with Palantir to bring greater visibility to customers around their cloud spend and solutions on how to reduce it. Let's look at what CodeStrap said. He's big in the Palantir community. He said, this is big. Beyond Apollo deploying stacks to Cloudflare, the billing archetype is practically SaaS 2.0 for the masses. Billing archetype meaning how do you understand how much you're spending on the cloud? Also, Cloudflare provides the missing cache and edge network for Foundry-backed apps. SaaS 1.0 is on the ropes. What he means by SaaS 1.0 is essentially the world of SaaS that allowed customers to get trapped within these horrible pricing models and allowed everything to be continually static. A more decentralized approach where Palantir can be running on top of any cloud provider, and more transparency and granular visibility into what is actually being spent and why it's being spent in the first place. The why is the nature of the ontology. Like, what are we doing this for? What is the purpose of this, which is the philosophical definition of ontology, is SaaS 2.0. Is this ability for you to have full transparency and understand what you're doing and be cloud agnostic at the end of the day. The final point I want to make on this is the last quote that was said by one of the SVPs at Cloudflare. We're excited to work with Palantir to bring greater visibility to customers around their cloud spend and solutions on how to reduce it. One of the bull cases I have for Palantir is the Foundry software being implemented across every single vertical in the world. We just got a partnership yesterday that has to do with healthcare, drug discovery, and hospital efficiency. We got a bunch of partnerships to end out the year where they were working with Hertz, or they were working with Tampa Bay General Hospital, or the CDC, or the Cleveland Clinic. I mean, there's just so many different ways, BP, oil and gas, that Palantir is able to implement the Foundry operating system to be able to do different things. I mean, I did a video back in November 2021 or December where they were working with Ringier, which I believe is a media company. And Palantir was helping them learn how to optimize their page views so that they can get more traffic to their website. I mean, there's so many different ways that Foundry can be utilized in the modern world. And so this idea of working with Cloudflare, which is an IT service management company, to bring greater visibility to how much people are spending on the cloud, think of it, it's such a niche use case at the end of the day. Like when I saw this partnership, I was like, I was like, wow, this is such a small thing in the grand scheme of things that Palantir is helping clients do, which is just get better transparency on how much they're spending. But think of A, how much money it can save them, B, how much of an industry expert they look like now working with something like Cloudflare, and C, how many other vertical permutations can exist with this Foundry operating system being implemented in so many different areas. And that's the risk reward, the asymmetrical risk I believe exists with Foundry. The risk is the sales go-to-market strategy. Can they execute to get even more of these partnerships? The beauty is that they have a product that actually can work across so many different areas. And if all those verticals end up starting to get bigger and bigger and bigger, like the cloud is in its infancy, it's going to get bigger in the next 10 years. Drug discovery, I believe it's in its infancy because now we've got this amazing thing called artificial intelligence that can take data rapidly and figure out patterns and be able to have better understandings of different drugs we can discover. Imagine Palantir software being implemented in that over the next 10 years. That gets bigger. If all these different industries are starting to expand and Palantir is the, in the words of Shyam Sankar, cardiovascular system, the operating system for all of these different industries, what does that say for Palantir? And I think today's partnership is just another smaller use case. That's a bigger use case in the cloud IT space, but a smaller use case in the grand scheme of things of what Palantir can do. And as a result of that, hopefully that becomes a broader partnership that exists across different industries for different verticals that Palantir is able to implement. So those are my thoughts. Thanks so much for listening and watching. Thank you for keeping up with my voice today. It's I've been eating these halls. I haven't had halls in years, but like my throat is just absolutely killing me. Last day to invest in my startup is Jan 13th. For anyone who is interested, you can check out some information down in the links below. And yeah, thank you guys for listening and watching. Let me know your thoughts on Palantir and Cloudflare's partnership, and I'll see you in the next one.